What do we do on this channel? We celebrate and explore race and ethnicity. We challenge ourselves. And that's what I like to do. I asked in a video pretty recently, are Mexicans a half-breed? Because I am part Mexican. Being Mexican means that you're arguably somewhere around half Central American and then half Spanish European, arguably, right? So I want to extend that theory to people who are Filipino. Immediately, I'll tell you who comes to mind. I'm sure none of you are Metallica fans. There's so many of us out here in the world, but so few show up to watch my channel, so that's okay. Metallica fans don't like my videos. I would think demographically, but either way. Anyway, the lead guitarist for Metallica, Kirk Hammett, he's the guy with like the long hair and it's like kind of wavy. Well, he's going gray now, but it was always like pretty dark. So he's half Filipino and half American. I believe his father was actually in the military and his mother was Filipino. So most people would say, oh, well, he's half Asian and he's half white. I can't say that about him because what does it mean to be Filipino? It's funny because every Filipino person I've ever been around, and I've been around quite a few in my lifetime, everyone I'm thinking of, they all have a Spanish last name. You know? Like Cortez, for example, could be any Spanish last name. I can't even think of a Filipino person I know that has an Asian sounding name. It's always Spanish. Because obviously history, you know, Spain occupying and taking control of the Philippines and all that. So obviously Spanish interbreeded, for lack of a better term, or worse term even, with the Filipinos. So they've got Spanish blood, European blood, they've got Spanish names. I watched the episode of Parts Unknown where Anthony Bourdain, he recently went to the Philippines, and he was talking about how explicitly Catholic and Christian the place is. And so for an Asian country, I think that's a bit not what we would expect. A very Christian-ish, and Christmas is a very big part of their culture, according to the episode that I watched. But are Filipinos half Asian and half European? Are they 3/4 Asian and 1/4? Like, I wonder, whereas Mexicans are pretty predictably half Central American and half Spanish European. I don't know about Filipino, because when I see a Filipino person, what I think of a person who is actually a more darker complected Asian person. Like, for example, when I think of someone who's Chinese, in my mind, I could be wrong, I think of someone who's lighter skinned. When I think of Japanese, I think of a little bit darker. But when I think of Filipino, I think of dark. I think of a very dark featured Asian person, yet supposedly, I mean, yeah, they're the ones with Spanish and European blood. So I don't quite understand that. But the question, to keep this as simple as I can, my question is, how not Asian are Filipinos? How European are Filipinos? That's my question. As far as if we're just basing this on race alone, ethnicity alone, if you're Filipino and you're filling out a form, and you were filling out truthfully, and they forced you to say exactly what you were, what would it show up? I've yet to talk to someone who's full Filipino and taken the DNA test. So here's a casting call. Will you help me out and leave a comment? I want someone who is fully Filipino. And I know that's basically kind of a paradox. But if you're 100% Filipino, like, for example, you may be a Filipino American, like, but your parents were born there and you're here, and all of your DNA is from the Philippines, right? What did your DNA test say? How Spanish were you? How European? What were you other than Asian? I'm so curious to know what someone is 100% Filipino. I wonder what that looks like when you take a DNA test, whether it's through MyHeritage or 23andMe. I really want to know. And the only way I can find out is by making this video. We've had some fun discussion leading up to it, but now it's time to answer. If you are 100% Filipino, please tell me what your DNA test revealed. I want to know the breakdown of what exactly ethnically someone who is Filipino is, because I can only think of Spanish last names. Is there actually Spanish blood in there? Is there something other too in there? Teach me, I want to know.